Yeah, yeah. Making her way to the mic. They start dimming the lights. You start feeling alright. From Birmingham, home of the Teddy Longs, and the room is stutters. More once you discover. For all of the lovers, Whitney Houston and Roman Reigns. For all of the lovers, and Mickey James and Marvin Gaye. For all of the lovers, and Sasha Banks, Janelle Monáe, Silk, Sonic, and Paige. Allow me to say, look, I just found a place, sweet escape for every one of us. I was kinda late, I just made it off the struggle bus. Walking by the fate, cause I know it's right in front of us. Yo, I ain't with the hate, gotta focus on what's great. Ladies and gentlemen, Steph Hardy is on the air. Had to drop a couple bars just to make you all aware. So, sit back, relax, enjoy the show. You know I go by Joe or the rest of the flow, yeah.
Hey y'all, welcome to a new episode of the Hardy Wrestling Podcast with your girl Stephanie Hardy. Of course, I am your host with the most, and I am so happy to be before you on this Money in the Bank and Worlds Collide Eve. Oh my God, I know it's been a minute, but I am back, and I cannot wait to get into all the stuff that's going on with wrestling. I just had to come on because there's just been so much happening. And of course, if this is your first time listening, thank you for joining the ride. And if this is your first time watching, thank you for joining the ride. Of course, we are live on all of the HWP platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, all of the things. We are on here. And of course, if you want to listen to or watch this later, you can do that by subscribing to the YouTube channel. That's the Hardy Wrestling Podcast with the logo that you see over here. And of course, you can listen to it once I put it up on all audio platforms as Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and all of the places, and Spotify as well. So yeah, there has just been so much happening, and one thing that I want to be more of in this uncertain time of wrestling change is to sort of just be a friend, that's holding people's hands and holding fans' hands and letting them know that we are going to get through all of the changes that's going on, that people may like, may not like, hate, detest, all of the above. And I just wanted to come on here to say that, if there's any questions you might have about professional wrestling, you can ask me. If you want to get into it, you can ask me about it. Or if you have any questions about something happening that you might not necessarily understand fully, or something that you might not necessarily like, you can reach out to me as well. I'm on social media a lot of the time if I'm not working or if I'm just chilling out or just working on something else wrestling related. You can just reach out to me on all of my socials. My handle is at Queen Steph Hardy. And my other handles for the podcast are scrolling on the bottom of the screen. So, yeah, I just felt it was important for me to come back and address some things and talk about a lot of stuff in wrestling that's making me happy, a lot of stuff that isn't making me so happy, but it's clearly stressing a lot of people out, which I hate to see. And yeah, this is just going to be a very power packed weekend because, of course, like I mentioned earlier, it's Money in the Bank weekend, which is one of the biggest weekends of the year. Very anxiety inducing, while also at the same time a very exciting time. It's a time that lives very close, and very special to my heart because last year I actually got to attend as media, and it was very special to me. If you've seen any of the posts I've been making today on socials, you've seen a lot of the stuff that I was able to do last year to celebrate this weekend. So please check that out if you have not already. And also, it's Worlds Collide weekend where WWE is having their event in conjunction with AAA, which is a lucha promotion that they acquired over WrestleMania weekend, along with, from what I heard, some TNA stars. And I'm going to share my predictions with that later in the episode. But before we get into all of the craziness of what's going on this weekend, I want to start by discussing news and gossipish. So, of course, this is where I talk about all the latest and greatest news and gossip that is going on in professional. To start with the most recent news, which excites me because y'all know this girl is my favorite. Mercedes Monet winning yet another women's championship, surprising all of us, gagging the crap out of all of us by winning another title. So Miss Ma'am made a surprise appearance at Prachtkerchen in Vienna, Austria, and she participated in a triple threat match against Lexa Valo and Mila Smid for the European Wrestling Association Women's Championship, which she won. So yeah, Miss Ma'am has added yet another title to her oh my God, mantle, I guess you could say, and to her waist. She is just out here wrestling for the love of the game, not only making big bucks wrestling with AEW and all of the above, but she is doing what she said she wanted to do, which was making women's wrestling global. And with that in mind, she's wrestling all over, not only just in AEW, but in New Japan, in Stardom, at House of Glory, and now with European at Rev Pro UK, and also now with the European Wrestling Association. Miss Ma'am now has 5 belts to her name. She is currently, of course, still the TBS champion. She is the winner of the Women's Owen Hart Cup, which means she has an opportunity to face off against Timeless Tony Storm at All In Texas for the AEW Women's World Championship. Of course, like I said, she's the Rev Pro UK undisputed British Women's Champion, and now she's the EWA Women's Champion. And words cannot express how proud I am of her. She just continues to raise the bar each and every time she wrestles. I'm not really as familiar with the women that she did wrestle against, but I am just absolutely thrilled and over the moon that she was able to win this title and just kick all kinds of butt. So congratulations to my girl, my goat, Mercedes, for winning yet another title and just continuing to raise the bar in professional wrestling for women in all things. I just cannot wait to see what else she does with this championship. So, moving on, in more news, actually hang on one second. All right. So back to news and gossipish, to news that isn't exactly the lightest form of news, but yet something that I do find is very important to talk about because it had a lot of people in their feelings, including myself. R Truth, someone who is an absolute favorite to so many wrestlers and so many people, was sadly his contract was not renewed with WWE after over 20 years with the company. A lot of people were saying he had gotten released, but that wasn't necessarily the case. His contract just was not renewed. Um, he posted on social media stating, quote, "I'm sorry to inform you all, I just got released from WWE. I want to thank WWE for the ride, but mostly I want to thank each and every one of you in all caps who was along for the ride. Thank you for all the love, support, and appreciation you have given me over the years. Thank you." And the craziest part about it was he had just had this amazing match. Or sort of like this one-off match with John Cena, who he would always comically call his hero. And once they had fought, he was saying that he wanted to basically slap and beat the hustle, loyalty, and respect back into him because he wasn't acting like himself, from his heel turn since he sold his soul to The Rock and, of course, became WWE champion by cheating with Travis Scott at WrestleMania. And they gave him a t-shirt and all of the above. So it was almost like the rug was getting snatched out from under us when we found out that R Truth was not coming back and was getting released after just being on SmackDown too. Like it was just really crazy, but this led to an outcry of the wrestling community stating that they feel like all of this was just a lie. A lot of people thought it was a joke, but then when it came out that it wasn't a joke, it led to an even greater outcry of people just feeling like this was wrong. With there not being any company loyalty, how come he was let go after making us feel good all this time and being loyal all this time? And a lot of people just showed him respect and gave him his flowers as an industry giant and as someone who just radiated positivity everywhere he went. And it was just so so sad to see someone who brought you so much happiness just get let go in this way. um and of course, I cannot pretend to know anything about how business works because I've never had to run a business in that way, but he would have been someone that I would have had to have keep just for the vibes. And it seems like a little bit of those vibes are gone now from WWE, but that's not to say that those vibes won't show up somewhere else. So I am wishing the absolute best for our truth. I respect him and his wrestling game. And of course, before he was in WWE, he was a champion elsewhere. He was the first acknowledged black NWA, I believe, champion. So wherever he goes, he will continue to prosper. And I am speaking that into the universe right now. So I'm saying thank you to our truth. Thank you for all the joy you brought me and my family because I loved every moment we got to sing the What's Up song. And my sister would say it super hard, like, What's up? Like a gangster rapper. So, so I'm really grateful for all those moments. I'm super grateful for seeing your return in Chicago at Survivor Series War Games in 2023, which was also the same Survivor Series that Randy Orton came back, and then of course CM Punk came back. So it was just a great night all around, and he was a part of that experience. And I just can't wait to see what he does next. And it's gonna sting a little not seeing him in WWE, but you know, I can't wait to see what else he does next. But in the midst of all of the other craziness having to deal with contract negotiations and all of the above, The Miz, who tweeted along with a lot of different people and talked about how he felt about our truth, changed his social media bios and took WWE off of it. And this sent everyone into a spiral yet again because their emotions were all over the place involving our truth. And so to see The Miz take WWE out of his bios on Twitter kind of just shook everybody. And they were like, oh my God, what's going on with him? Why is he removing WWE from his stuff? And it seemed that more of the rumors was spiraling after it was reported that he had unfollowed and removed all mentions of WWE from his X and Twitter account. And it was reported that his contract is up for renewal this year. So, of course, a lot of people mentioned that just because you remove stuff from your social media or one social media outlet does not necessarily mean you're getting ready to go. But at the same time, um, the Miz has also been a part of WWE for a very long time, and he also hosts and he also does different side gigs as well. So it could, you know, be in the realm of possibility that he could very well leave if he wanted to. But of course, I'm hoping he doesn't because right now he's in a program with him, Carmelo Hayes, and I would hope that that would have some resolution and that would have like a feud before, you know, he were to decide to leave. But of course, it is his decision and it is his life. So we're just going to wait and see what happens. But I have nothing but love and respect for these people because they're so lovely and because they have just done nothing but bring me joy and also evoke all kinds of angry emotions too, based off of what was going on. So I just hope that everything's okay with both of these people, but mostly also the Miz. And then speaking more in terms of contract stuff, we have Karrion Cross, who may or may not renew his contract. People are afraid of him not being able to come back, especially after he spoke his piece about being more than just a background figure with Scarlett. Then on top of that, you have Carlito revealing that he was leaving because his contract wasn't going to be renewed, just like our truth. And he confirmed that on Twitter as well, saying, "My contract is up in 2 weeks. It will not be renewed." And then he joked saying that WWE was demanding that they pay back the money, but he clarified that that was all a joke and he thanked the WWE Universe. Now, this shocked me because it seemed like he was a little bit of a hit when it came to a lot of what he had going on, with the Judgment Day. But it was looking like, that um is not the case anymore, and now he's leaving. And then it was also speculated about his status when he went on to Puerto Rico to become a champion down there. So that's really cool. Congrats to him for that. But yeah, now he's, ending things with his WWE contract, and it's sad because he had left before, and it kind of bummed me out during that point in time. And then he came back to a raucous ovation in Puerto Rico at Backlash to fight with the LWO. And then he was the comic relief for the Judgment Day, and now there's a piece of that missing. And like the R-Truth stuff, it does sting. It really does sting when you hear stuff like that. But here again, they will shine elsewhere. So I'm wishing nothing but the best for all these people going through all of these changes in their wrestling lives. And I just can't wait to see what they do next. And in speaking of people doing things next, Shotzi made an appearance on Unwrapped with Daria and Tony. And this is a podcast that's hosted by Daria Baronato, who was formerly known as Sonya Deville in WWE, and her wife, Tony. And she shared a story that was very sad to hear and pretty disturbing, because she was also one of those people who was set to not return to WWE as well. And she shared the story that her place in the Royal Rumble this year um was taken by Alexa Bliss. She said that she had heard mixed messages. She said, quote, "I heard mixed messages. A couple of producers said that I was always in the Royal Rumble, but then they told me at the last minute. And then, yeah, I don't know. I was very confused by it. But they didn't relay anything until like the day before. It was like 3 p.m. the day before the Royal Rumble, and they were like, "Hey, can you get on a flight in a couple of hours?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm not ready for this," and packed my bags. I don't even know what I put in my bags, got to the airport in like an hour, and then it led to nothing. And then she said that she got there and thought she was in the match and even went to rehearsals for the Royal Rumble. However, she found out that she had been pulled the day of the event, and that she was told while she was in the makeup chair um, that she wasn't in it. And then she confirmed that she was pulled because of Alexa Bliss's return in the match. But she later on said that though she understood it got the biggest pop of the night because, it had been a while since Alexa Bliss had been in WWE, um, Alexa came up to her and said she had no idea she was replacing anyone, and that she apologized and that she had no clue. And this made me feel so sad because Shotzi was always one of my favorites in NXT. And even when she came up to the main roster, and it felt like to a degree there was something more that was happening with her character wise when she had shaved her head. That was something I definitely enjoyed from her because she was able to show another form of unconventional beauty in that way. But then after that point, after she was in the War Games match, I forgot what had happened. But then she had came back to NXT, and she was eventually running around with Priscilla Kelly, formerly known as Gigi Dolan, and Tatum Paxley. And they had a really cool faction going on until, stuff just got changed and you just didn't see them that much anymore. And it was just really sad to see that she was one of those people who were getting the axe. And she was just one of my favorites early on. And I just wanted nothing but her success. So to find out that um she was replaced in the Royal Rumble, really kind of made me feel a bit sour in that regard. Now, it didn't sour the moment of Alexa Bliss coming back because I love that because I was present for that as well. And that was a really cool moment to witness. But it still would have been cool to see Shotzi be a part of it too. So dang. And then for her to find out the day of, like, oh my god. I can only imagine that feeling. I that just feels I mean, I can only imagine that. But I'm sending good vibes to Shotzi and good vibes to Alexa Bliss and good vibes to anyone who felt like they were replaced because Trick Williams even mentioned in his diss track to Joe Hendry that Joe Hendry took his place in the Royal Rumble and I was like, is that true? Because I legit asked Carmelo Hayes at Royal Rumble press like what would happen if you came face to face with him, and he wound up not being in the men's rumble. So I mean, is it true that he took his place? But either way, I mean, I just hate hearing stories like that. It just makes me sad. So I'm wishing the best for Shotzi Blackheart. I hope that she continues to thrive in wrestling or whatever she so chooses, because I know she has other hobbies that she enjoys, like scary stuff and so many other things. And Alexa, I just can't wait to see what she does in this ladder match, but we'll get to that later. But either way, that was something I hated having to hear. But yeah, good vibes for everyone. Now, further into news and gossipish, let's talk about WrestleMania. Now, in the space of time where it's been since I've been back or since I have recorded another episode, WrestleMania was announced for New Orleans next year, but now it's been pulled and we still don't know where it's going to be. And this brought a lot of feelings to people. A lot of fans were disappointed, especially a lot of natives of New Orleans who were really excited about it finally coming back to their city, but then now it just isn't happening now and they were very bummed out about it. And there have been lots of rumors speculating that because TKO and WWE liked the amount of money that they made from it being in Las Vegas that it could be in Vegas again, but they have not announced it yet officially. So, yeah, they're trying to keep us posted about it, but notably this week, the mayor of London shot his shot again and said, "Hey, we would still love to have WrestleMania in London," which I feel like wouldn't be the worst idea in the world, considering the UK is, one of its most passionate fan bases, and WrestleMania has only been in the United States in its entire existence. So if it decided to go to Canada or go to the UK, that would be cool too. So we just have to wait and see on that. But I was a bit bummed that it wasn't going to be closer to me this time because the level and the amount of money it takes to travel to these far out places, it's a lot, but it's worth it for the opportunity. So when I heard it was going to be in New Orleans, I was excited. I was like, yes, it's closer to me. But now it's not. And I'm just like, oh, but we make do. We do what we can. So yeah, they still haven't told us where WrestleMania is going to be, but I'm sure we'll figure that out pretty soon. And if it's going to be in London, we'll figure that out soon as well. In more gag worthy news, Mariah May made her WWE NXT debut this past Tuesday to the surprise of everyone because, of course, it was announced that she had left AEW and that she was taken off of the roster page. And she hadn't appeared in a number of episodes since her last match with Tony Storm, I believe, which was the Hollywood ending match for the title. And of course, Tony won that, and Mariah had not been seen since then, and she was taken off the roster. So this Tuesday, she pops up when all the girls are gunning for their opportunity at the NXT Women's title, which is currently being held by JCJ. Oh my God. And she pops up on the platform and says, "Hey," and gags everybody. And she calls herself the next NXT Women's Champion. And as it stands now, we don't know what her name is going to be. Because, of course, Mariah May is actually one part of her real name. But, of course, WWE is a little bit different, so I guess we'll be figuring that out pretty soon. But we know the glamour is there. So this week it was also announced, or at least it was reported by Fightful, that she had put pen to paper on a multi-year deal with WWE, with her appearance on NXT being expected by many, given the number of talents that have been moved around, promoted to the main roster, and let go in recent weeks. And that WWE made sure to keep her debut under wraps so no leaks would get out, which I appreciate, so much so that all the women involved in the segment May debuted and were only told about her moments before the segment started. With that said, a very tight circle of people knew she was officially signed to the company heading into the show, knowing full well that she would be starting her WWE journey on NXT. And that is how you do a surprise. I appreciate that so much because surprises can be spoiled a lot of the time, and I really hate that. So whenever something happens and it's just like boom, it's a real surprise, I'm just like, yes, I love stuff like that. I love it. So I just love it. But it's also been reported that she has signed with Paradigm, for representation in all areas, which will expand her career in film and in television, focusing on her branding. So big ups to her for that. Um, it's been reported by a number of wrestlers, including Alexis Littlefoot, the big flexer from Lexington, Kentucky. Shout out to her, friend of the pod. Um, that this was her dream to be in WWE for a long time. She started off as a WWE shop girl, which is like when you're modeling merchandise for WWE, and she pivoted in her career, from doing one thing to wrestling. So I'm really happy to see this level of growth from her, and to see just from her being AEW champion, from her being a champion all the way, in Japan and then to AEW up until now. Like, it's been really cool. So I'm happy for her in this regard. So it's going to be great. It's going to be cool. And I just love how they did the surprise. Gag us, make us pay attention and shake us up. I like stuff like that. So congratulations, Mariah, if you see this. Another thing that I wanted to discuss, which was very important to me, was Deanna Purrazzo. She made an appearance on two different podcasts in the past couple of, I believe, days or weeks or whatever. And she had an interview on the Lightweights podcast talking about what is her AEW stipulation dream match. And she stated that her dream match stipulation would be a submission match against Mercedes Moné. She said, I just think we've both like established careers on our submissions. Me with the Fujiwara, primarily in WWE, with her with the bank statement. I just think that the wrestler she is, and she is very much a technician in her own right, and so am I. We can make magic from a submission standpoint. And she is absolutely right. She is absolutely right. Because the way Miss Man was gagging me when I was at NWA Empower, when she was fighting against Melina and she was bending her every which way but loose, I was like, what what are we doing? What are we doing? It was crazy. So her versus Mercedes is something that I've been sort of manifesting inwardly for a long time. I would love to see that, especially now it can be argued that Mercedes, and the trajectory that she's on with winning all of these titles all over the world, directly parallels Deonna Purrazzo's journey when she was in TNA and collecting a number of titles there as well, collecting all these belts. So if they had a face off in AEW, that would be amazing. That would be absolutely amazing. So I hope that somewhere down the line they have um an interaction, but of course that has to happen once Deanna gets on AEW television a whole lot more. So if you're listening, AEW people, please put Deanna Purrazzo on AEW television a lot more because she deserves it. She is so, 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 so talented. She's so great and she's enthralling to watch. Like, please just put her on TV, please. And on another podcast called The Mighty Pursuit, she mentioned going viral on social media because of, I believe it was last year, she went viral because she was either twerking or doing something in her gear. And a lot of people were throwing shade at her and her body image. And this made me really sad because in the clip, she was talking about how a lot of people were talking trash about her and cyberbullying her about her body, and she was talking about how she was scared to even wrestle on television or just wrestle, in any level of gear because of the shame, and being publicly torn apart about it. And this made me so sad because, like I said earlier, Deanna is so talented. And then on top of that, she's so beautiful the way that she is. Because, of course, her body is not skinny. She's not skinny, and she doesn't look like the archetype of what people think an athlete should look like. But at the same time, the things that she can do in the ring, not everybody can do. So the idea that people were tearing her apart for how she looks just tore me to shreds. And it made me feel so sad for her. And hearing her talk about it on this podcast really broke my heart because she even stated that her insecurities, um, even filtered into her relationship with her husband, who is also a wrestler, Steve Macklin, where he will try to tell her that she's beautiful, but then inwardly she would say, "Oh, well, no, I'm not." And that's something that I struggle with too, where people in my life will tell me, "Oh, you're beautiful," but I don't believe it because of body image issues and just, the negative voices in your head. And this broke my heart to hear. And I just want to let everyone know who's watching this show that you're beautiful the way that you are. Um, your body, however it is, helps you to show up in the ways in which you can and do show up in the world. And I hope you know that regardless of what anybody says that's negative or anything that people might, or any societal standards that people try to place on you, you can't listen to it. You cannot feed into it at all because you are beautiful the way that you are. And it's just disheartening to hear that people say stuff like this about people who are on television, and it's just like, ew, they look like this, and ew, they look like that. And it's just like, you say that sitting from behind the screen, but if these people were in front of your face, would you say that to them? Would you tell them that you feel like you have these negative feelings about them? No, you wouldn't, because you don't have the courage. You just say it from a screen. You just say it from a comment section. You type it in these forums and you type it on social media, but you would not have the courage to say this to these people's faces. And let's be clear, just because they're wrestlers and just because they're TV personalities doesn't mean that they are not human beings like us. So let's be kinder to each other and let's not throw shade at people who are putting their bodies on the line to entertain us. Let's stop that and stop stalking them and stop threatening them too, because that's something that's keeps popping up too. It's just ridiculous. These are human beings just like us, and we got to chill. We really got to chill because we don't own these people. They are not possessions. We look up to them, yes, but they are still human beings. And I wanted to share something that this story brought up for me, in terms of my body image issues too. Um, this was me in high school and in college, the first 2 years of college. I was a little bit smaller then, as you can see. Um, and over the years, I'm 31 now. That was me when I was like 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. Um, I never really dealt with body issues, but at the same time, and I was pretty active at a certain point because I was taking dance. I was doing a whole lot of different things, just being active or whatever. But around 2014, my life started to change, my appetite started to change, and I started putting on a little weight. And I didn't realize it until after I came back from overseas because I was in Ghana when it started happening. And and over there in Ghana, West Africa, they sort of see weight as like a form of wealth. Whereas over here in the United States, if you gain weight, it's like the end of the world. Um, I dealt with these issues for a while and I still deal with them to a degree because I was smaller back then and now I'm 31 years old and I am a little bit thicker in certain areas than I used to be. But the thing that I hold on to is the fact that this body gets me through work every day. This body gets me through podcasting and doing media. There's just been so much that I've been able to do, even in this current body that I have. And I've dealt with body shaming too, because at NWA Empower, like DS Shin posted a picture of me, waving at him in the background, and somebody decided to throw shade at my weight. And it made me sad, and yeah, it made me cry. But at the end of the day, um, I have to trust that God made me this way for a reason and that I'm still very much beautiful and still very much accomplished, even in how I look now. And if anybody tries to make you feel like trash because of it, then they're trash. So, of course, remain healthy as much as you can, but do not cave or buckle under the pressure of people telling you you have to look a certain way because you don't. You're beautiful the way you are, and that's just the truth. So, I believe that is all for news and gossip ish. And now we're going to move to a special segment where I'm going to talk about my predictions for this weekend's festivities. Like I mentioned, we are having Worlds Collide early Saturday afternoon, which is, of course, WWE and AAA's first ever collaboration that they are having since the acquisition. And I'm really excited about this because I am a fan of Lucha Libre wrestling. I respect it and honor it so, 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 so much. Um, the first major Lucha match that I ever saw was at WrestleMania 21 with Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero. And this was during their tenure as tag team champions on SmackDown. And that was like the first major match that I had seen between two luchadors. And it was so beautiful that I do recommend that you go back and watch it. And it is just as important as their match that they had at Halloween Havoc in WCW. It is so good. And since then, I've just been a fan of Lucha, so I cannot wait to see this tomorrow afternoon. So, there's only one women's match on Worlds Collide, and it's a tag team match between Stephanie HWP, the brand new Raw call up and former NXT Women's Champion, and Lola Vice, going up against Dallas and Chick Tormenta. And of course, if you saw the episode of Steph and Cat Talk Wow, where we talked about the importance of what it means for Tormenta to be a part of this event because she is a WoW superhero, you know how I feel about this. I am so thrilled that she gets to be a part of this as a luchadora, as someone who I deeply respect and admire as a part of the WoW superheroes roster. I cannot wait to see her in her element this way, and also her without her mask too. Um, I just cannot wait to see this match. I feel like this is going to be a great match. This is also going to be a learning experience for me because I've never seen Dallas wrestle. I'm definitely familiar with Lola, Stephanie, and Tormenta, but not familiar with Dallas. So this whole pay-per-view right here is just going to be a learning experience for your girl. Um, I'm predicting that Stephanie and Lola might win. Um, or maybe they won't win. I don't know. This is hard. Because I love this is just so hard for me to predict right now. I'm actually gonna change my mind and predict that Chick Tormenta and Dallas are gonna win because at one point Lola was sort of, I guess, campaigning for her chance at facing Stephanie for the NXT Women's Championship, which now Stephanie does not have. So I feel like now at this point she might turn on Stephanie a bit, maybe, but then again, she really doesn't have that much to gain from it because Stephanie's not on NXT anymore. So I don't know how this is gonna go, but I'm just gonna predict for now that Chick Tormenta and Dallas are going to win this match. Um, don't take it as gospel. Don't take my predictions as gospel, please. But yeah, that's just my prediction for this one women's match with Worlds Collide. But I cannot wait to see it, take place. I'm really excited about it because even on NXT Battleground, you could see that Tormenta, Dallas, and Stephanie had beef with her, um, from the past. So I just can't wait to see how that's gonna manifest itself here. So it's gonna be great. Now, moving towards the men's side, we have a six-man tag, which is, the first of two six-man tags in this PLE. You have LWO in the form of Cruz del Toro, Dragon Lee, and it was Joaquin Wild, but he got replaced by Lince Dorado. And if you're not familiar with him, he was in WWE for a little while as part of Lucha House Party, but before that, he was a great and formidable member of the 205 Live roster, their cruiserweight division that they once had. So he was one of my favorites to win the first Cruiserweight Classic, but he did it, but it's okay. So if you've seen him before, that's probably where you have seen him before, but he's not with WWE anymore. But either way, he's going to be in this match with LWO versus, please forgive me if I get some of these names wrong. It charged to my head, not my heart. Um, Octagon Jr., Aerostar, and Mr. Iguana. Um, I'm going to predict that Aerostar, Mr. Iguana, and Octagon Jr. are going to win simply because I love the fact that um, Mr. Iguana really thinks he's an iguana and he carries around a puppet. I just think that's the cutest thing ever. Even though I would love if LWO won, simply because I haven't really seen them in action a whole lot on Raw or SmackDown. So I would really love it if they got the win too. So actually, I'm gonna change my mind again. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna predict that LWO is gonna get the win. But of course, all of the people on the other team are gonna do a fantastic job as well. Because here again, I'm not as familiar with them, but I'm just going to predict that LWO is gonna win. And I do hate that Joaquin Wild isn't in this match because I know he would probably pull some crazy stunts in this match. So I'm sad that he's not going to be in it, but either way, I feel like LWO is going to get the win here. But big ups to the other team too, because I can't wait to see what they do. Plus, I just love the iguana thing. Like, that's just really cool. So, yeah. And of course, in the NXT side of things, we have the NXT North American title match between Ethan Page, Javon Evans, Laredo Kid, and Ray Phoenix. So I feel like in my perfect world, this would be Ricky Starks defending the title and not Ethan Page. Um, but it's being highly speculated that Ricky Saints is also among the people who's getting called up too. We just haven't seen him yet, so I don't know when that might be. But honestly, in my perfect world, it would be Ricky Starks, in this fatal four way. But because this isn't my perfect world, I have to live with the reality of what is. And I want Javon Evans to win this match because it would be amazing for him to get his lick back another time on Ethan Page for trying to take his smile. And I just want him to hold some gold in NXT because he is just so amazing. He just continues, to thrive. And I just want to see him win. No shade to Ray Phoenix and no shade to Laredo Kid. Here again, I'm not as familiar with your game, but you did do an amazing job on NXT this past week. I just want Javon Evans to win. He's the young OG. He's been putting in work. I want to see him win that match and take it off of Ethan Page to send him spiraling somewhere because I just feel like I would be absolutely bummed out if Ethan Page found a way to snake a win from these three men because they're all so good. Um, Lucha Libre aside, and then of course when you add in Javon being bouncy, like it would just make no sense for Ethan to just snake a win and then retain his title. It just wouldn't make sense to me. So I just want Javon. I'm predicting that Javon Evans will win this match because I feel like he's long overdue for gold in NXT at this point. So yeah, Javon Evans, Team Javon over here. And then we have another six-man tag between Legado del Fantasma going up against El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., Pagano, and Psycho Clown. Here again, please forgive me if I pronounced your name wrong. Charges to my head, not to my heart. Um, I feel like Legado del Fantasma is going to lose. And not because they're not great in lucha, because of course Santos Escobar is the emperor of lucha libre. Angel and Umberto have been really great for a long time, but I feel like Umberto is wanting to chart his own path, and I feel like that's gonna cost them. I really feel like that's gonna cost them in the end, and that's not gonna work out pretty well because even with that, like you could tell, like even in their sit down, he wasn't really feeling it. And even though last week on SmackDown, they won that match that they were in with Javon and I think Laredo Kid, or if not Ray Phoenix, um, I just don't think that they'll be on the same page tomorrow. There's just something telling me that something's gonna happen. So I'm definitely predicting that the team of El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., Pagano, and Psycho Clown are going to win this match because of miscommunication or Umberto just wanting to do his own thing, like Miles Morales. So yeah, that's my prediction for that one. But it is going to be good, though. I'm excited. And then finally, we have the Triple A Mega Championship match between El Hijo del Vikingo and Chad Gable. I kind of feel a way about this match happening, and I also feel like this ties in to another dark feeling I have about Money in the Bank, and I hope it does not happen this way. But I feel that El Hijo del Vikingo, he is somebody I am familiar with because I saw him wrestle a couple of matches in AEW, and he was really good and he was really impressive. Okay, like I love him down. So seeing him, have these interactions with everyone in WWE has been really cool. And I feel like he's gonna retain his AAA Mega Championship that he just won from Alberto. But I feel like Chad is going to lose this match and then go into the Money in the Bank match with the men as El Grande Americano, the coffee order, which is what people on social media are calling him, and it's hilarious. And I feel like he's gonna win the Money in the Bank briefcase um, to cash it in on him, and then cash it in on Vikingo and cause a whole bunch of issues. I know that sounds bad because last year Drew McIntyre cashed in the Money in the Bank the night of, but then it got ruined um, by CM Punk, and it would be like another weird hiccupy thing or gimmicky thing that would be happening. And I know a lot of people feel like El Grande Americano is insanely disrespectful to the Lucha Libre culture, especially considering Chad Gable is this Olympian white male and he's sort of colonizing it in a way. But I just really feel like that's what's gonna happen, and it's gonna rub people the wrong way, but I just feel like that's what's gonna happen here. And yes, it'll be a victory for El Hijo del Vikingo to retain his title, but I really feel like Chad is gonna do some major F-ish at Money in the Bank later on, win the Money in the Bank briefcase as El Grande Americano and cash in on him. Cash in on Vikingo. Yeah. That would be weird, and I know that sounds like past booking, but I feel like that would be that would make it the only logical reason as for El Grande Americano to be in the match and not CM Punk and AJ Styles. But mm, we just gotta wait and see. But that's my dark prediction for that. But I can't wait to see this match take place. So yeah. I mean, this whole PLE take place because, like I said, I love Lucha and I just can't wait to see it actually thrive. And I wish Chad just wasn't anywhere near it because here again, you're a colonizer. Stay out of it. Like, just stay out of it. It's just really frustrating. But this is where we're at. So now we move to my predictions for Money in the Bank, which will be taking place later on tomorrow night um, in Los Angeles. And we're going to start with the women, like I did before. And we're going to have, of course, a women's intercontinental championship match between Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch. And of course, if Lyra retains the IC title, Becky Lynch cannot challenge for the title anymore as long as Lyra is champion. But if Becky Lynch wins the title, Lyra has to raise her hand and call her the better woman. My prediction for this is that Lyra might retain the IC title and Becky is going to crash out. I feel like Becky might just crash out and be a part of and possibly be a part of whatever Charlotte and Alexa Bliss might have going on in terms of trying to get respect from the younger people. I mean, from the younger members of the roster as like the OGs. Not the OGs, but like the generation before them. And it's going to feed into evolution somehow. I just really feel like it's gonna be some crazy thing where she's just gonna crash out and be like, "No, I'm the man. I'm supposed to da 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 da." And then Charlotte and Alexa are gonna meet her backstage and be like, "Let's talk." And it's just gonna be this crazy thing. I don't know, but I feel like Lyra really might retain here. But then again, if she doesn't retain, I won't be mad either because she has had a very substantial reign, and she will always be the first, no matter what. So I love and respect Lyra, aka the Bird Lady, for all that she's done with the IC title. So if she did lose, I wouldn't be too angry about it. But at the same time, I just feel like there might be something else on the horizon for Becky if she does lose. I feel like that will actually feed more into something else for her. So I'm predicting Lyra's going to retain. But like I said earlier, don't take these predictions to heart. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And I'll say that. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But if I'm right, I'm right. And that's okay. It's okay, guys. So, yeah. And then, of course, we move to the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Oh my God. I love this match so much. Last year, it was fantastic to witness. So, for those who are going to be in Los Angeles who are going to witness this match, enjoy it and soak and bask in the awesomeness that it is. I'm excited that Rhea Ripley is going to be in it for the very first time. Like, I can't believe that she's never been in it. That's crazy to think about. But yeah, this is going to be her first time. And it's also going to be the first time for Stephanie HWP, Julia, and Roxanne Perez. So this is going to be cool. And it's going to be the umpteenth time, I guess, for Alexa Bliss and for Naomi. Um, of course, Alexa Bliss has won Money in the Bank before. It could be argued that Rhea Ripley doesn't necessarily need Money in the Bank, considering she just spent almost all of WrestleMania season, gunning for a match that she really wasn't technically supposed to be in. So it could be argued that she doesn't necessarily need it. But I can't wait to see how she performs in the match. Julia, Roxanne, and Stephanie, I love them all the way down. They slay me in the ring every time. And it would be cool if the newer talents did win. But I'm going to go with my girl Naomi. I want it to be caution in the bank. Because if she were to win, she would be the first black woman, I believe, to win, to become Miss Money in the Bank. And I just feel like she is due for a substantial big win here because since she's been back in WWE, I feel like I've said this before, but it bears repeating. Um, she had fought for the women's championship multiple times and lost either fair and square or due to shenanigans. And of course, she just wants to prove herself as this crazy unhinged heel at this point. And I feel like this is probably the perfect place to do it. And if she cashes in, she could get revenge on Tiffany the way that she's been wanting to for the past couple of weeks, because Tiffany was the reason she lost a lot of those matches against Nia Jax. So that would be sick storytelling. Um, but then she could cash in on Io, and that would, put a wrinkle in things too. Or she could cash in on JC Jane and become NXT Women's Champion. You just never know. It could be crazy. Or she could cash in on Callie Armstrong and become the Evolve Women's Champion. I don't know. My brain is just kind of going elsewhere. But either way, I'm predicting that Naomi will win and become Miss Money in the Bank. And it would be Caution in the Bank, and it would just be really cool. And I hope they give her a custom case. And I hope that we don't have to make hashtags over and over again asking for her to get a custom case, because that would literally irritate me. So, yeah, Naomi is my girl. I hope she wins. But she's really going to have to stay out of people's parents' houses. Because I swear to God, last week on SmackDown, when she said she went by Bianca's parents' houses and then threatened her and said that she wouldn't want to be in a wheelchair next to her mama, baby, the level of crash out that would have happened for me and my sister. And I'm not the fighter in that situation. My sister is. So we gonna leave that alone. But I'm predicting Naomi's gonna win. I love y'all down. I'm predicting this match is gonna be amazing, but Naomi's gonna win. So yeah. Moving into the men for Money in the Bank, we have John Cena and Logan Paul going up against Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. And let me remind you guys, there are two major champions in this tag team match. Jey Uso, the World Heavyweight Champion. John Cena, the WWE Champion. And I feel like this is a very full circle moment, because with me talking about how great of a time I had at last year's Money in the Bank in Toronto, um, it's full circle because that was where John Cena first announced that he was going to be retiring this year. So now we're here, and this time last year, we could not have imagined that his retirement tour was going to be him as a bad guy at all. Like, the way that he doesn't take questions at press conferences now, he took everybody's question at that press conference last year at Money in the Bank, because everybody and their mama was like, wait, you're retiring? Stop everything. And we were all in our feelings and we were all crying, and now he doesn't care about our feelings. And it's just kind of like, what, how did we get here? Um, and now he's tagging with Logan Paul, who you could argue is the antithesis of hustle, loyalty, and respect, and just, everybody hates. So, yeah. And then, of course, you have Cody Rhodes, who we have not seen fully in action since WrestleMania when he lost the title to John Cena. It bummed me out not seeing him. It bummed me out because I hate that everybody was like, you see how WWE can just go on without Cody Rhodes? No, stop playing with his name. Stop playing with QB1, okay? I am so sick to death of y'all talking major trash about Cody Rhodes like he is not, you know, of royal lineage, and like he is not that dude, okay? Cody is that guy, and I'm just so sick of y'all just talking trash about him like that. Like, I'm tired. I'm just really tired of it. Cody is that guy on the microphone. He's that guy in the ring. And I feel like until either one of your faves wrestles a match with a torn pec, a Hell in a Cell match at that, then neither one of y'all can say anything to me ever. That was 3 years ago. Yesterday. Forget that. Can't now one of y'all say anything to me at all about Cody Rhodes. Can't now one of y'all say anything bad about that man to me ever, and I will let it slide. I'm not letting it slide. Cody is everything. And more importantly, him and Jay together is also everything. Team Yeet all the way. I'm predicting Cody and Jey Uso are going to win, and Cody is going to use this as an opportunity to challenge John for the title that he lost via cheating at WrestleMania. And I hope he gets it back too, because I need the feeling back again. I need good to conquer evil, please, somewhere. Do it, Cody, please. So yeah, that's my prediction for that one. And finally, we have the men's Money in the Bank match. Now, in my perfect world, I would love it if LA Knight won. Because here again, let's do process of elimination. Andrade, he's gonna do a fantastic job in the match. Penta too. He's gonna pull off. Both of them are gonna pull off some otherworldly type crap. Let's just get that part out of the way. Um, Solo, he's someone that is a wild card because I haven't really seen him in a stipulation match like this, so I can't wait to see what he's gonna offer here. Seth, he's won Money in the Bank before, but I feel like he's gonna perform pretty well, and I kind of hope he doesn't get it because he's just been nefarious since this whole thing, and I'm just irritated with him because he just basically became Roman Reigns Jr. and I'm just mad. Um, and like I said, in my perfect world, I would love it if LA Knight won because he's been in three Money in the Bank matches now, and he's been almost there, but just no cigar, and it makes me sad. But like I said earlier in my predictions for Worlds Collide, I feel like El Grande Americano is going to win somehow and cause a whole bunch of mess when it comes to the AAA Mega Championship. So, yeah, that's my prediction for that. It's not the most comfortable prediction. It's not the one that everybody wants to hear, but that's kind of how I feel about it. So, if this happens, let's grit our teeth. But if it doesn't happen, let's breathe a sigh of relief. So those are all of my predictions. For Money in the Bank and for Worlds Collide. I cannot wait for tomorrow. It's gonna be lit. It's gonna be really cool. I can't wait. So now we've reached the end of our time together. Thank all of you so much for watching live. And of course, like I said earlier, if you want to watch it later, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is the Hardy Wrestling Podcast. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers. So please, please, please subscribe and share any clips that you might see that I might share on social media. Um, of course, please check out this interview that me and Katrina did for Steph and Cat Talk Wow with Santana Garrett, who is a women's wrestling veteran and a former WoW World Champion, and WoW Tag Team Champion in her own right, and with the visionary of WoW, David McLean. It was such an honor to have them on our show. So please check out that interview if you already haven't. Check it out on Cat's channel. Check it out on my channel. Um, this was a very deep honor indeed. I'm really happy to have talked to the both of them. And hopefully we'll have more interviews just like this for a while. And of course, check out Steph and Cat Talk Wow whenever we do go live to talk about these episodes for women of wrestling superheroes. We love the show. Um, and we're going to continue to cover it. So just be on the lookout for the announcement of when we're going to go live next, because our next episode is going to be a double dose episode. So please be on the lookout for that announcement. And Evolution is coming, and I'm so excited. I forgot that I put this picture here, but I am so excited that Evolution is happening. And I wanted to use this to announce the fact that I will be doing an HWP extra episode about Evolution 2018. A lot of stuff got in the way, but I really do want to recap what happened in the last Evolution because it was such an important all women's spectacle, and the fact that they're actually bringing it back this year in Atlanta um blew my mind, and I'm just so happy that it's happening, and I hope that somehow or some way I can be there, whether in media or whatever. I hope I can be there. Plus, not to mention it's the same weekend Beyonce is going to be there. So it's just going to be a lot of female girl power in the ATL. But either way, I just cannot wait to see it. And of course, Saturday night's main event is going to be before it, and then NXT Great American Bash is going to be before it too. And it's a power packed weekend because All in Texas is going to be that weekend too. But either way, y'all know me. I'm here for women's wrestling always. So I'm going to Evolution. Come hell or high water, I'm going. And I am the high water. So dang it, I'm going. And I just can't wait for this. I'm so happy. But either way, an episode is coming soon of HWP Extra where I recap and talk about Evolution 2018 and how I felt about it. So be on the lookout for the announcement for that. So, yes. And of course, read all of my articles on Daily DDT. I have a new article set to come out pretty soon after everything goes down with Money in the Bank. So be on the lookout for that. And thank you always to Raphael for listening to my crazy ideas and letting me, write about them. And of course, if you want to book your girl for comic conventions, for panels, for commentary, or even for ring announcing, I do travel. So DM your girl. Of course, like I said, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Queen Steph Hardy. You can also follow the show, The Hardy Wrestling Podcast, at Hardy Wrestling Podcast on Instagram and on Twitter at Hardy WrestlePod. And you can DM me there so we can talk about rates, we can talk about appearances and stuff. It is kind of hard because I do work a full-time job and do other things. So let's just work out stuff. And of course, if you want to come on to do an interview, you can do that as well because I just had It's Wheezy Blonde from the streaming world on my show. Of course, I've interviewed different wrestlers and just different personalities in the wrestling space. And this is an open platform. If you want to come on and talk wrestling with me, you are open to do so. You are open to come back and just have a good time and vibe out in the chill, positive, and passionate space that is HWP. So, of course, enjoy this wrestling weekend. Of course, SmackDown is coming on in a few minutes. So, we're going to tap into that. Just stay safe, love each other, and be better. Um, let's be better as a wrestling community and just love on each other and just focus on the positives as much as we can. And just let's just hold each other through these uncertain times and support the wrestlers that you love. Um, and don't trash on them whenever they move someplace else or to work someplace else because that's just trash. And just continue to just be the light in a world that's trying to go towards the dark, but pull it towards the light. Snatch it. So this has been the Hardy Wrestling Podcast with your girl Stephanie Hardy. And until next time, bye y'all.